Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll explore stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today, we're excited to have Dr. Nicholas Lim joining us from Singapore. Dr. Nicholas is a Singaporean chiropractor and healthcare leader who integrates advanced zone chiropractic, nutrition, and holistic healing principles. A graduate of Palmer College of Chiropractic with a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition, he has completed over 80 postgraduate seminars, trained with leading chiropractic masters worldwide, and authored 6 scientific publications. During his time at Palmer, he founded and served as the president of the Mastery, Love, and Service MLS Seminars Club in 2018 with guidance and mentorship from the late Arno Brunet. He currently serves as the board member and philosophy chair of the Alliance of Chiropractic Singapore and is particularly passionate about exploring the connection between mental health and chiropractic care, a topic he recently presented on at the Asia Summit Chiropractic over the weekend. Dr. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Dr. Perry. So nice to be with you guys again.
Yes, definitely a great time over the weekend and meeting you and all these different passionate people in Asia. Shall we start by you sharing your story specifically in terms of how you got into chiropractic and also your journey in doing different training seminars and also opening up your own practice in Singapore? How is it like in Singapore?
Sure. So how can I start? So I would say I started chiropractic quite long ago. So when I was somewhere around when I was maybe quite pretty young, I think around my primary school time. So I was always very fascinated about healing that is not using drugs. So when my mom brought me to the library, I would always spend a lot of time reading even TCM, reading about Ayurveda, reading about all kinds of healing. And it always fascinates me that healing, wellness, well-being practices around the world. So I spent a lot of time reading in the library. That was my first encounter. And then later on, my mom's friend learned this modality called Jin Jitsu. She went to a lot of seminars and she would come back and offer my mom and her family sessions. So I really got explored into these kind of health, healing, wellness practices. So I think around the age about 9 years old, I started getting sessions of this and it really opened my mind already. But I was constantly getting ill, constantly having like sharp pains, stabbing pains for no reasons. So I was getting sessions at that time. Then later on, when I was going to my secondary school, those things didn't help. My parents brought me to see doctors, brought me to see TCM, brought me to see many practices. I'm sure those practices work for a certain group of people, but sometimes it didn't work for me. Then later on, I heard from my elder brother that he went to see a chiropractor and he later on introduced my father. And then, of course, later on, they introduced it to me. And I think he was like going to Palmer, coming back from the US, practicing chiropractic, and then introduced to us. And then later on, I got adjusted and it was really, the rest is history, right? And then later on, at first, I thought that chiropractic was only the one way of practicing, right? But then later on, through my Jin Jitsu practice, my friend, Kelly Dunderdale from America, she used to live here in Singapore. She introduced me to her friend, Dr. Theo Q, who was also an MLS staff member, who later introduced me to Arno Bernier before I went to school. We were chatting, and of course, way before I got to school, I really knew Arno. And from there, I got to know more other chiropractic, vitalistic teachers. So when I went to Palmer, I started taking a lot of seminars during the weekends. And then later on, Arno and Dr. Jeremy, who was one of the MLS teachers, asked me if I want to bring MLS back to Palmer, which I did because they said that it's the first school and it's a pity that MLS is not even at Palmer. So because of that, I went to Palmer and brought the MLS systems back to the fountainhead. Yeah. And it was coming back full circle. But so later on, I thought chiropractic is great. But then later on, I realized all my training in nutrition, my training in whether Jin Jitsu or Japanese acupressure, they all came together. But I got to make it clear. I'm not saying that nutrition, I'm not saying that all this Jin Jitsu is chiropractic. They are separate and distinct. They have relationship with each other, but they are not the same. I'm not saying that this is chiropractic. Just like whether is it exercise, physiotherapy, they all have a place in the health systems, but they're all separate and distinct. We want to stay in our lane as well.
Did you have your human nutrition practice first before you studied chiropractic?
So during my polytechnic years, because I was trying to learn more about health, and then I saw there was food science science course. Then I learned more about your food, your diet can impact health. And then later on, I wanted to learn more about affecting the population. So during my army days, so while serving my 2 years, my superior allowed me to study
Oh,
nutrition
wow.
and health promotion advanced diploma at Singapore Polytechnic as well. So it helped me to further understand my health. And then later on, because I have the diploma and the advanced diploma, I went directly to study in Singapore Institute of Technology together with Newcastle University of Thailand. We went and completed the last 2 years in my bachelor's degree of food science and human nutrition with awarded from both sides. And then, well, this was good because then I could directly go into the Doctor of Chiropractic program in the US, because many people who want to go to the Doctor of Chiropractic program in the US, they cannot, because in the US, you need an actually bachelor's of science or equivalent in order to enter the program. Otherwise, they will ask you to go for 1 or 2 years bridging program before you can study the Doctor of Chiropractic in the USA. There's different programs. So, but because I already had a degree, I could enter the US directly. And that was a big leap because the program was definitely fun, but also very challenging.
What would you say is the most challenging part for you studying in Palmo than studying chiropractic?
The hardest part was to study, I think, spinal anatomy, neuroanatomy. That was definitely difficult because I didn't really have that kind of background of anatomy at that level, because I would say the anatomy level is pretty high. It's maybe master's level or something anatomy. You really got to know the stuff. Our professors say that our anatomy is at a very high level compared to what a lot of healthcare professions learn. Because you've got to picture it. It's very important. As chiropractors, it's very important to know anatomy, but learning it from scratch was really hard. But we all made it here, and I'm glad to make it here, right?
Yeah, you made it. You made it.
And then at the same time, on top of all these classes, we still got to learn chiropractic adjustments. We got to learn the philosophy, the science, and the art and the practice, or the business of chiropractic. We got to learn everything together, such compressed times. In the US, I didn't take any holiday because, of course, definitely you save time, you save resources. Because you could take a summer term in the US.
So you chose
And
not
that's
to
how I
take it.
graduate, like in maybe like 3.5 years instead of 5 years, right? It's a 5 year program, but you can compress to 3.5 years if you take the summer term instead of. But if you don't take the summer term, of course, you can graduate in 5 years instead. It gives you a little bit more break to breathe.
But you're just like boom, boom, back to back.
Yes, US style and it's tough because you got to sometimes US is after the exams you got to go back for class. It's non-stop, and then you got to balance between theory, practice, technique, philosophy, and everything because it's so wide and we have to learn so many things, right? You got to learn so many and you got to pass so many courses in such a short time.
There's definitely a lot of learning, not just theory, but also practical
Yeah.
wise, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
also complete your assignments as well and study for exams. So basically it was every day. And then on top of that, I knew I had to be good at what I want to do. So my friends asked me, hey, Nicholas, do you want to go for a seminar together? And then we're like, oh, we're driving up and all that. So we just keep driving up. Sometimes we go together and sometimes my friends were like, oh, we need to study. And then my friends say, okay. So sometimes depending on if we can find a common time, we go together. But sometimes if not, I would actually go to the seminar by myself also. It was a lot of traveling at time because my mindset was I need to make this work. I need to be the best version of chiropractic for myself. Because if I'm going to come back to Singapore, who am I going to ask? I need to know it myself. I cannot rely on others. I need to know it. I need to own it. And the only way is to make the best version of myself and try my best to go to as much seminar, make as many friends, build as much relationship with people so that many of them I have many friends in the US and even have some friends in Europe and many of them are still friends today. We kept contact to today and everything. And I would like that supportive environment. Previously, last week I was teaching the chiropractic and mental health. So when I actually wrote to my friends in the US and the UK, they actually very happily supported me with pictures, information on whatever they know. And that's how I built those slides and built those decks as well. Because in Singapore, there's no archives, right? And sometimes the only way is your friends, your community that's going to support you in whatever you do. Otherwise, how? There's no way. It's hard to get information otherwise.
And then like for you, you also in Singapore, you slowly build up the association, build up the philosophy group, you ordering books overseas, tons and tons of books you mentioned, yeah?
Yeah, so I was grateful because I made many friends in the US and I made many friends in the UK. So a lot of my friends, they love chiropractic philosophy, they love chiropractic history, they love basically basically we came together and we say that as doctors of chiropractic, we are responsible for everything chiropractic, from the dissemination, to the philosophy, to the art, to the history. Everything is our business, right? And we realize that a lot of our leaders are getting older. Many of them are retiring. So our generation have to bear the torch. We came together and I was super inspired by my friends in the UK, even though some of them didn't go to a principal school, but it didn't deter them from being grad principal doc. They went seminars, they taught, they met mentors, and then many of them, to the extent they even made friends with a funeral parlor. So they made friends with a funeral parlor and tell the funeral parlor that, oh, if any chiropractors who are very old dies and their family want to throw away the books, why don't sell the books to me? Call me.
Right.
So because of that, they actually managed to call my friend in the UK, and they actually bought a couple of collections from the chiropractors in the UK. And honestly, if they didn't rescue that collection, maybe those collections will be in the bin today. Through all that, we also became really closer as friends, as chiropractors, and we have a common ground. We have a common objective that we want to preserve the history, preserve the philosophy, and because today, many of our schools teach that, but also many of our schools do not teach that. And then how do you expect the younger chiropractic students or younger chiropractors to know about that? Because they were not told. We have a vast history, we have a vast heritage, a vast philosophy of our practice, but many of our young students and young chiropractors in practice do not even know that and it's not their fault because they were not told. The chiropractic that they learn in school is very different from what is our forefathers have taught. And so because of that, a few of us, we really came together and we have been buying up collections on eBay, on Abe Books, on Thrift Books, on Biblo, and we also call secondhand bookstores in the States to tell them that if they found these books, because some of the books we cannot even find, and we even give them specific topics and our specific books and say that if they ever find a copy, call us. There was a book which me and my friends, we were not able to find a copy for a long time. And then finally, one of my classmates in Palmer bought over a practice, and the previous owner had a copy in that, and because of that, he actually was very lucky. That book is super out of print. He made a copy and sent it to me, and it was so many things. And there was another book that it was lost, especially a lot of books before 1950. We even checked with Palmer Archives; they don't even have a copy. But some of them we know such a book exists, but we do not know where, because sometimes other books reference that book, but
But you
then
can find it, yeah.
but then we call every college in the world and nobody has it.
Wow.
But then, interestingly, one of my friends in the United States, he found a very old doc in Minnesota. What happened was, we know he has a book. He has the book there, but we asked him whether we could copy it because the book was like 1932. He said no, I don't think it's right to copy. So after that, my friend in the United States called me. He said, "Never mind, this is human nature." So he said next day he started telling that doc, "I think I got some issues. I need to come to see for adjustments for the next couple of weeks. So he came very often for adjustment for him, and then they started to become friends. And then after that, once they became friends, the guy allowed him to copy the book.
It's a relationship, isn't it, in the end?
And then later on, a lot of our our historians, a lot of them are like members of the Association for History of Chiropractic. I actually shared those books with them, and they were like, "Wow, that book is like
Very rare.
a treasure because it's lost, because we don't even know where the book it is, but then now you found it." So I believe that a lot of the books are somewhere in the United States, or somewhere maybe in the UK, or somewhere in Australia. It's probably in the hands of some chiropractors, but we do not know where. We just need to cross path with more of them, maybe have better relationship with them, and maybe they will share with you. I think a lot of us, we buy so many books, maybe a lot of them we only just put in the vault, put in the shelves, and we don't even remember we have such a book, which is why I was very inspired by a colleague in UK, very good friend also, Dr. Scott Jackson, who digitized all the green books and digitized many things. A great friend of mine, he also was the one who introduced me extensively to the mental health and chiropractic in 1973, which I'm also grateful for.
Now, you've read so widely in terms of chiropractic books. What would you say is one book that everyone should read, and also the one that has changed your perspective deeply?
A lot of it is definitely the green books is great, but sometimes the green books can get a little bit complicated, especially for somebody new. So personally, I think for somebody new to chiropractic or someone who wants to go to philosophy, I think the blue books with straws is easier to read. And honestly, it's our philosophy anyway. Yeah, straws is really easier to read. And of course, in modern times, the Institute Chiropractic with Simon Senzon, he has republished many of the old classic texts of chiropractic, and he has republished Dr. Drain, who is the first president of Texas Chiropractic College. His book was lost for many years, and Dr. Simon Senzon, got acquainted to Dr. Drain's granddaughter, and Dr. Drain's granddaughter gave him the permission to publish all of Dr. Drain's books. And so because of that, we have his work today. And you can see that it's also the same message as D.D. Palmer and B.J. Palmer, but he wrote it in street language in a way that everyday people can understand. So it was way easier to understand also. And then we also have the writings of Ratledge, and you can see Ratledge was D.D. Palmer's likely last student. And Dr. Simon also republished those two books. And you can see the grit that they have, the struggles that they went through to really defend and protect the principles of chiropractic so that it doesn't die. Do not compromise on the principles, because chiropractic is chiropractic. Whether somebody like literally threaten them or say that, oh, I want you to put medical and become chiropractic, they say no, chiropractic is chiropractic. Or somebody say, I want you to change it to become physio, they say no, chiro is chiro, physio is physio, medical is medical. Everybody has a place in the system. We should seek excellence in our own system and not to try to go and mix and match, stay in our own lane, right? Just like chiropractic, what's unique about chiropractic is to locate, analyze, and detect vertebral subluxation, find it, fix it, leave it alone, right? That is our goal, because no other professions do that. And a lot of people now would try to do manipulation, and manipulation is not adjustment. There's a difference. And our philosophy separates us from all other professions, because a lot of people can do manipulation, but a lot of people cannot do what we do because they do not have philosophy. Another thing is a lot are doing just osteopathic manipulations. They're not doing chiropractic because their manipulation is more long level. Chiropractic is a short level thrust to a long level manipulation. Small difference compared to the others. I'm not saying that the others doesn't work, it's just different. We are unique and distinct.
And more importantly, it's like the philosophy behind in terms of what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and another book that recently I read was really fascinating. It was written by, I think, three of our foremost chiropractic historians, Timothy Faulkner, Joe Foley, and Simon Senzon, who literally traced the 23 first students of D.D. Palmer and their life. It was many years in the writing. They scoured through a lot of archival material, and they finally got the book out. And you can see how the struggles that they went through, and information was hard to get back then, but through their struggles, today we have what we have is because of what our forefathers have fought for. Many of them went to jail, many of them, and some of the writings that they wrote was also written during their time in jail. And some of them, even they couldn't finish their work in their lifetime, and they had to pass to their son, or they passed to their students and to continue. Like Ratledge writings. It's fascinating because Ratledge, in those days, there was no internet, there was no AI, there was no all these things. So they had to write literally from scratch. I think Ratledge was unable to finish his writings, his book, so he actually passed his writings to his son. And then later on, the son also ran out of time because you only have 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
And then later on, he passed his writings to Paul Smalley. So honestly, the writings of Ratledge only survive because of Paul Smalley. Without Paul, we wouldn't have his writings today. And it just fascinates me, and things that many of our forefathers just fight for so many years, for the last century, right? But because people don't know about it, they dismiss it and to say that they are wrong, they're deceived. But if anybody actually take the time to understand all this, you will see there's so much beauty to this. And recently also, I'm a lifetime fellowship member of the Institute Chiropractic with Simon Senzon, and Simon did a great job because of his PhD. He actually mapped up the first generation, second generation, third generation, and now we are in the fourth generation of chiropractic, and all the leaders and their ideas of vertebral subluxation. And he really explained which leader said this, which leader said that, and how the ideas developed until today. And I thought that was really fascinating. It must be a lot of work. There was a lot of references to newspaper articles, to journals, to this, and I was like, wow, I wasn't told a lot of this, even though we study so much philosophy in school, history in school, but to go dive deep into our leaders, we learn all this. And honestly, I think this education should be to every student. If this kind of education was given to every student, I think every school is going to be a principal school.
That's why it's very important for us to study what was written, what's the history, how did we came, because as you mentioned over the weekend, if we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we'll be heading, isn't it?
Yes, especially this generation, because like I say, many of our leaders, many are are leaving the world. Many are also retiring. It's important that they pass. That's why they pass on the torch, and it's on us, our generation, to carry this forward. Because if we don't carry this forward, then the thing is going to disappear more and more.
Yes.
And very soon we're going to lose our identity, and we do not know why we are doing what we are doing, right? There's no certainty in our practice. We are becoming a human doing, we're not becoming a human being. That's the difference between being and doing, right? Being, you're actually be, right? Rather than do. Do is just like a mechanical action, very technical. But when you are being, you're actually doing an art rather than being a technique. Because if you're practicing as an art, then no matter what kind of clients come to our office, you have the belief and certainty that you can help them. But if you are only practicing on the level of technique, then you always say, oh, maybe the book didn't write, so we cannot do. We're always doubting because it's like we always rely on others, but we don't rely on ourselves, that our true belief that we can help them. Because we're always believing in what the authors write in the books. And because honestly, a lot of the books is just a guide. It's based on their experience. But then the true artist is to take those knowledge on the books and integrate it into your life, into your practice, so that no matter what cases come into your way, it doesn't affect you. And you will say, I still have that certainty, I still have that belief, I still be who I am, and I know I can locate, analyze, detect, and then session, and I do my best to also find it, fix it, leave it alone. And it's really not up to us. The rest is not our duty. The rest is just leave it to innate to do its job. And that is the thing. But it's because as human beings, we are also born to be very complicated. So we always think the most complicated. Sometimes the simplest adjustment are the most powerful because it's complicatedly simple. It's not simply complicated. But everybody wants to make it very complicated because everybody wants to feel important also.
It's just human nature, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, but the tricky part, after studying so many seminars, I realized, hearing from so many chiropractic teachers, the most simple adjustment is the most profound. And sometimes doing less is more, sometimes not necessarily more is also better.
What will be one message you'll leave to chiropractic students listening to this episode? Was it that you want them to understand and want them to take away from this episode?
Yeah. So I would tell chiropractic students is know your why you want to join our profession. And sometimes if you do not know your why, go to a seminar like our Asia Chiropractic Summit or anywhere in Europe, anywhere in US, go to a seminar, go with an open mind, let someone, maybe after the seminar, you will have a better why, right? And because you need to know your why and you really put aside all your past understanding experiences and go with an open mind to learn where you are. Because going to school, I realized that I met many people, they do not have an empty cart. Like after adjustment, they say, oh yeah, maybe exercise is better, or maybe physio is better. Because they have a lot of past experiences, so they start to add, and then they don't get the results they want, and then they start to doubt in the adjustment. And don't doubt the adjustment. The late Hugo Gibson, he always said the adjustment is your signature. It defines who you are as a chiropractor. One of my pi brother as well from the fraternity, great teacher, and Dr. Timothy Young always quotes him as well. Always believe in your purpose, know your why, going to school. Don't go in blindly, because if you go into a very mechanical way, you try to just pass your classes, you'll be lost. Because when you actually think you know what you're doing, but then later on you come in with very neuro cases, or you come in with very complicated cases, and then no matter what you do for them, they don't get better, and then you lose hope. But if you have a strong philosophical basis, then you know that you could help them, then you're able to have certainty and you don't lose hope. And then I would say also go to a lot of events, go to a lot of seminars, read a lot of books. Your education is in your own hands also. Don't rely on others. At the end of the day, you need a parallel curriculum and keep showing up events, make a lot of friends, and eventually you keep showing up to events. Some of these speakers, some of these leaders, they would also reach out to you and perhaps maybe take you in as a mentee. They become your mentor. I went to many events and many of them eventually became a lot of my friends, and many of them became my mentors as well, and they guided me to websites to read. A lot of them, they can guide you to the right place, but honestly, you still need to do the own studying. You need to do your own practicing. You need to do, it's like they can guide you in your journey, but they cannot live your journey for you.
You just need to put in the work.
Yes. And then eventually many of my mentors, beginning they taught me a lot, but later on they also said they also learned a lot from me, because we eventually now it's like instead of mentor, they always call me like their colleague and friend. And it's so amazing. You need to keep practicing and also go to a lot of mission trips. trip. I also tell chiropractic students, go to mission trips because there you get to practice a lot, and in putting your hands in practicing with people and learning and serving with a pure heart, you can actually see the magic and miracles of the practice of chiropractic, and that will also solidify your belief in the work because you're not just adjusting people, you're actually changing lives, right? One spine at a time. And you are actually doing so much more, elevating human consciousness, helping their health, healing, wellness, and well-being. It's not about pain because I tell them if it's only about pain, don't go to chiropractic school. Just stay in your house and eat your painkillers because chiropractic is not that. And don't spend so much money on education just to learn about pain because it doesn't make sense. You just take your painkillers, that will solve you. But if you are interested in getting on a system of health that is to elevate human consciousness, to improve health, healing, wellness, and well-being, and to improve the function of humanity, study chiropractic. And you will get answers that you never get before. And don't try to reinvent the wheel. Follow what our forefathers did. And never ever think that you're smarter than them because too many times I hear students tell me, oh, maybe D.D. Palmer, B.J. Palmer, Gonstead, or all these leaders in chiropractic are wrong. And I'll say they are still way ahead of their time. And they, because of their philosophical background and because of their wisdom, we have what we have today. And honestly, many of the things they said, like D.D. Palmer, maybe 100 years ago, is still true today. And many of the historians have said that D.D. Palmer is 200 years ahead of his time. So never ever doubt that. They have way more wisdom, even though they don't have websites, Google, ChatGPT at that time. They knew a lot. They know way more. Even though now we have those ChatGPT or Claude, I think we know a lot of these people.
The principle is timeless, isn't it? There's like the fundamental truth that you can't change it. We're actually coming towards the very end. I know there's lots of things, lots of wisdom coming up from you, and we're just scratching the surface. Really great time in terms of you sharing your story, lots of different wisdom and advice for people listening to this episode. Where will be the best place to find you then, Dr. Nicholas?
Go to my website, drchiro.com.sg, or you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Chiro Clinic, or Facebook also at Dr. Chiro Clinic, or you can find me on TikTok at Dr. Chiro SG. You can find me there. On my website, we have a clinic phone. You can always call our clinic phone. You can ask, we will get back to you as soon as I can. We have a lot of people texting us, so it might give us some time, but we will respond. Or you can even send us an email at contact@drchiro.com.sg and we will respond to you. If you're a chiropractic student, especially you need help, don't keep silent. Talk to us, talk to the community, and we're here to help you because we are only one pair of hands. But if we can help you to become a great chiropractor, we can always change lives. As B.J. Palmer always said, if you adjust one person, that's a small thing. You adjust a family, that's a small thing. You start to go to communities, it's getting bigger, but it's still a small thing. Then you go to the regional part, it still becomes small thing. But when you start adjusting one family at a time on the communities and regional and globally all together, we have great chiropractors helping vertebral subluxation one thing at a time. And that's the big idea.
That's amazing. That's a super great way to wrap the episode. We'll leave your information in the description below so everyone can reach out to you yourself, Dr. Nicholas. And we will see you in the next episode. That's great.
See you soon. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Being podcast. Let us know what is your one key takeaway from this episode. And if this conversation inspired you, share it with a friend who might find it helpful today. Until next time, take care of your health and take care of your being.